Hey Matt, David with ESPN here. Obviously, the last Notre Dame game was not the best ground game for you guys. What do you take from the experience of having gone through that? Obviously, I'm sure they played you a little bit different because you've got a freshman QB instead of Trevor Lawrence back there. But as an O-line who wants to open up some room for Travis to run, do you take it something from the experience? Do you see something on film that you guys can address for this time around?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's pretty obvious we need to improve upon that performance. And I know all the guys that played in that game and the coaches as well have taken that to heart and are doing their best to improve upon that. And I think the biggest thing that we also need to acknowledge is that there was some good things. I think we started off the game with a good run there, a counter. We were backed up. But then throughout the game, we weren't able to consistently get things done. And I know a lot of it it might sound cliche, but a lot of it comes down to very little things like how big your splits are or hand placement or, this step should be 6 inches in a different direction. So there's a lot of little things that can be corrected that we're hoping will translate into a more effective running game. Another positive we can take from the game, though, is that we did pass protect well up until the second overtime. So there's a lot to be improved upon. And like I said, we've all kind of accepted that challenge and are looking forward to this weekend. But it wasn't all bad. And I think that's important to acknowledge as well.
Hey, Matt, it's Trevor Gross from CTigers.com. We saw the way North Carolina ran all over Miami the other day. Notre Dame really shut North Carolina down for 3 quarters. Is it possible they're playing even better defensively now than they were a month ago?
It's hard to say. I mean, I really going to start getting more into the film this week, but that's kind of the goal. It wouldn't be surprising if that was the case because I know, especially here at Clemson and as it should be at other schools around the country, everybody wants to start to play their best ball in November and December. So if they have improved since they played us, then we're definitely in for a fight. But that's definitely the goal for people around the country when you get into the championship phase, as we call it here at Clemson. And Notre Dame's a very talented and very sound defense. So we need to be on our A game this weekend.
Hey, Matt, it's David Hood and Eli Hood here. What stands out to you about that Notre Dame defensive line? I mean, we know that they're good, but to you, what makes them so good? Is it talent? Is it execution? Is it a little bit of everything?
Yeah, I think to say that, you kind of have to go on an individual basis. But speaking generally, they've got athletic DNs. Number 9, they're going to stand him up into the boundary, and he was able to cause some havoc, especially in the run game, making it hard to kick him out on counter plays and get some TFLs on the mesh crash. Number 91, he's a long athletic guy as well. And then on the inside, they've got some stout dudes that are they're high effort guys, and they're going to be where they're supposed to be and play with an incredibly high motor. And when you're talking about defensive football, playing with a high motor is something that should be very heavily sought after and can make a difference, because even if a guy might not, let's say, beat you on his first pass rush move, or he might get knocked off the ball in the run game off a double team, his ability to still play with the motor and finish the play, get off the block, and you can still get a tackle or make a play just based off effort. And I think that's what you see a lot of the guys, they just outwork a bunch of the guys that are blocking them. And also, we kind of mentioned it back when we played them earlier in the year. They do a good job of kind of confusing people and getting some crazy looks on third down. So it's a challenging group to play against, and it's a physical group. And a game like this should be physical. So like I said, everybody knows that we didn't run the ball as well as we wanted to last time, and we want to improve upon that this time around. And it's definitely not going to be easy, but I know we're up for the challenge.
To add to that linebacker Owosu, man, he's a baller. Do you kind of have to know where he's lined up? You know, I know that they kind of move him around a little bit.
Yeah, well, if you don't know where he's lined up, then he'll hit a lick on you quick. So you better know where number 6 is lined up, because that dude comes with he's got a cement head. and he's a great player, great athlete, and he's probably going to be successful at the next level. So he's a dude, man, and they've got other talented guys on the defense as well. But number 6, that kid is a ball player.
Matt, it's Trevor again. If you could just look back to that last game on a personal level, you know some guys on that roster, and obviously had to leave the game early with the injury. Just how much does this rematch mean to you on a personal level?
Yeah, I mean, I never want to make my own situation bigger than the opportunity we have as a team, but it is something that matters to me, and to get the opportunity to play a team twice in one season is very rare in college football, let alone 2 teams ranked as highly as we both are. So the implications of this game and just the national spotlight that's on this game, it's a huge spectacle, and this is what college football is all about. And to be a part of something like this, especially with something getting the opportunity to play a school like Notre Dame that's so rich in their tradition like they are, that it's a great opportunity, and certainly did not expect to have the opportunity to play them twice. And literally any other year in college football, we wouldn't have that opportunity. But this has been a pretty crazy year, to say the least, and you can never just predict what's going to happen next. So to have that opportunity again and hopefully correct the outcome this time is all we can ask for. And for me, just trying to stay healthy. Obviously, a lot of that's out of my control, but I know myself and all the other guys are really looking forward to have this opportunity this weekend.
Anything else for Matt?
Matt, this is Matt with the State. I know you mentioned gaining the good things you guys did in that game. Just passing for over 400 yards, do you feel like that was a big confidence boost for not only the offensive line, but also the receivers and the passing game in general?
Yeah, well, I think what you've seen this year, and I know it's been probably talked about more than it maybe needs to be, but you're going to see guys and teams challenge our guys on the outside, and especially in that case with DJ, challenge a young quarterback. And I know a lot of people are want to make it seem like we're trying to make an excuse as to why the running game hasn't been as effective, but scheme matters. And to see those young guys step up and kind of prove a lot of these teams wrong, including Notre Dame, where we had some guys with really incredible performances, is very encouraging. And sometimes you hear a lot about teams needing to open up the run game to get the passing game going, but it can work in that reverse order as well. And if you get teams who are now having to respect the threat of the guys on the outside and kind of give some safety help here or there, that's one less hat in the box in the run game. And so that opens things up. And instead of having 2 guys to beat, Travis might only have 1 guy to beat. And a lot of it comes down to matchups, and everybody needs to win their matchup. Football is a game of matchups. But like I said, scheme does matter, and having the ability to have these young guys step up and be a legitimate threat on the outside is good for the entire offense and the team. So we've had some guys play really well this year. I mean, you've seen a guy like Cornell Powell, who's had an absolutely incredible year, a guy like Amari Rogers, who he's the same way as well. And the young guys are really stepping up too. So I know we're really excited about the type of guys that we have on our side. And like I said, at the end of the day, we got to win our matchups and get the job done.
Hey, it's
Hey, Matt.
David again. It's a little bit. Go ahead.
Hey, it's Anna with Clemson 24/7. Just in terms of freshness and how you feel physically coming off this bye week as a unit, you could speak to the offense or just the offensive line. Where do you feel like your bodies are in terms of maybe in recent weeks and previous weeks? Do you feel like this is the freshest that you've been in a while?
Yeah, I think I'll probably have a better gauge of that once we get towards the middle of the week. But as somebody who's really started playing the most of his football this season and playing games where you're playing 70, 80, 90 snaps, coming down the stretch, it's tough to keep your body in a good spot. And so the importance of bye weeks is it's pretty huge, actually. And it's something that this year I've really learned to take advantage of, and trying to get rest and stay off your feet and just try to recoup a little bit, especially for a game like this when you know it's going to be physical. So I know personally, just getting a workout this morning, I felt good, felt strong, and as we get into practice this week, I'm definitely anticipating feeling a little bit more loose and bouncing around. So I think the bye weeks are really beneficial, especially for the guys like myself and the other guys along the line that have played a lot of snaps. So like I said, we'll know more once we get to the middle of the week, but kind of waking up this morning and working out definitely was a positive feeling.
Hey, Matt, Lawton Swan, where are you guys, in your opinion, mentally compared to previous seasons, just with the wear and tear of COVID-19 and testing and everything? How is that, kind of worn on you mentally?
Yeah, there's I would say that there's been quite a few challenges this year as a whole, and the season included, that we just haven't had to deal with in years past. And it's just so involved because it's in every aspect of our lives. There's something that's different. For example, for me, I'm graduating here in a couple of days, and so this semester academically for me was a very challenging one, and really just trying to finish strong. But then you also have the online aspect of that. That's just not a traditional experience. And like I said, it spills over into every aspect, and just the meetings and having to meet in the indoor and things of that nature. It does get tiring, and it is a unique challenge to this year. But Coach Sweeney said it well before the season that this has the opportunity to be a competitive advantage for the teams who handle it correctly. And you're going to see the culture of a lot of teams shine out in the public eye this year. And what I think that we've witnessed is the Clemson culture being put on full display in a very good way. We have guys who understand the importance of the sacrifice that needs to be made in order to get where we want to be. And it's a great question to ask because it does get tiring. And there's things that, sometimes you just don't want to wear the mask because it's annoying, but you have to realize that, as Coach Elliott says a lot, sometimes you have to give up what you want in a moment for what you want most. And it's hard and it's easier said than done. But in order to get where we want to be as a unit and as a team, we know that there's a lot of sacrifice that has to be made.
Hey, Matt, I'm sorry, David, with ESPN again. Real quick to kind of follow up on that. Trevor was one of the most kind of vocal and in the forefront about wanting to play, and probably had the most reason not to play of anybody maybe in the country. I'm curious what it had meant to you guys to see the way he has approached this season, including missing that first Notre Dame game because of COVID, and how he managed to continue to support you guys, like from just a leadership or an impact in the locker room. What has it meant to you guys?
Well, first off, I appreciate that question because I don't think it can be overstated the type of teammate and guy that Trevor Lawrence is. And for all of us in this facility, he's come in here and handled himself with a crazy amount of class and dignity since his entire time here. And he came in with astronomical expectations and just a crazy amount of fame for an 18-year-old college freshman. And the way he's handled himself as a student athlete here at Clemson and on the field is a great example for a lot of elite level players. And I know that being Trevor Lawrence is difficult, and he's had this crazy spectacle on him for his entire career, like I said, and he's handled everything extremely well. And he's the type of guy who, as an offensive lineman who doesn't necessarily get all the accolades and the fame, I would love to play for Trevor Lawrence any day of the week. And as somebody who's his peer, just witnessing the way he's carried himself is something that I think I respect him a lot for. And the way he's used his platform for good and to be about the right things and really vouch to have a football season and using that platform to vouch on behalf of a lot of guys who maybe don't have the voice that he has. So really appreciate the way he's handled himself and the impact he's made this year, but obviously years past as well. And he's the type of guy that you love to have as a teammate, and just really respect the way he's carried himself.
Hey, it's David again. You've gone into the past few years into an ACC championship game, with people saying, hey, they could still lose and probably still make the playoff. Now it's kind of understood. This is a play-in game almost for the playoff for you guys. Do you guys talk about that? Does it add extra incentive, or how do you approach this, knowing, You know, if we lose, we're in the Orange Bowl, but if we win, it might be a Rose Bowl.
Well, that's actually kind of the attitude we've had ever since we lost to Notre Dame in the first place, because we knew that a 2-loss Clemson, whether it was to Notre Dame twice or to Notre Dame and somebody else, I mean, from that game on, when we did lose, we knew that we had to win out. And that's just the fact of the matter. And that's kind of one of the things that I think people love so much about college football, is that there's very little room for error. And yes, this game is the exact same, where, I mean, we have to win to get where we want to be. And I think it's great to have guys that know how to perform under pressure and know what's at stake. And maybe if that helps them stay in the film room a little bit more, or stay on the practice field a little bit longer to get where we want to be, then it's definitely worth it. And to know that we've got the guys, we have the talent and the capability to get where we want to go. Now we just have to execute. That's what it comes down to.
Matt, this is Grace Rayner from The Athletic. Just going back to Trevor for a second. He's obviously played in a ton of huge games, but just as someone who has played with him for a while, what do you guys learn about him each time the stakes get higher?
I think that he has an incredible level of preparation, and he's an incredible competitor. The best players need to play the best when the lights are the brightest, and he exemplifies that for sure. And he, you know, to expect to win, you have to put in the preparation to earn the right to win. And I think he definitely does that. And when he knows that the team is counting on a guy like him, who is immensely talented, to play to his talent level. And that's a lot of pressure to put on one guy. And the quarterback position in general, that's kind of how it is by nature, where a lot of people like to think that things live and die by the way the quarterback plays. And so to be able to handle that amount of pressure is, I mean, like I said, I think very highly of Trevor. But at the same time, he certainly earns the right to have the success that he does by his preparation. And then when he's out on the field, he's an elite competitor, and he's not going to be denied.
This is Matt again. Obviously, DJ played great for you guys at Notre Dame, but what's it like going into this, knowing you have Trevor and that he'll be on the field?
You know, to be honest, I had a lot of confidence in DJ as well, and he obviously showed us that we should have, because he played lights out, and I mean, certainly as well as you could ask any true freshman to play in a situation like that. So I don't know if the confidence level changes. Obviously, just the leadership of Trevor, who he's a guy who's been here for 3 years. He's performed at a high level on the biggest stage. So maybe there's that, but I don't think anybody was really concerned that we had DJ behind us as opposed to Trevor. I mean, DJ is a very special talent as well. And the poise that DJ showed in a game like that is not often seen in a true freshman. So it wasn't like we had some ragtag bunch walking out there. DJ is pretty special in his own right. So obviously Trevor is a great leader and an unbelievable talent, but you know, DJ, he's pretty good too. So